Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Winged Spear, which is a weapon you can get very early on in the game. It's right in Firelink Shrine, and this weapon can be pretty invaluable for a lot of players. It's a very good weapon to have for your playthrough, and for PvP you can do some pretty good things with it. Now, getting started with the weapon, the Winged Spear, it has a weight of 4.5 units. It requires 13 strength and 15 dexterity in order to wield it. It has a E scaling in strength and a B scaling in dexterity. Like the majority of spears, it works with the Leo Ring very well, and that pretty much sums it up. It's really just a basic spear. This is the exact same moveset and everything as the regular spear, but longer and does about 20 more damage. So that's pretty much why you never see the regular spear actually, because this one for 1 unit more does more damage and has a longer reach. So anyway, moving on. The pros and the cons of this weapon. I would have to say that the biggest pro of this weapon would actually be the amount of damage it can do with a Leo Ring. Now, you guys know I love my Leo Ring, and I'm not trying to make this a biased review or anything, but let's be honest. This weapon, without its Leo Ring, is not too great on the damage output. With me, my AR is only right around 385-ish, I want to say. With a Leo Ring, though, I'm able to hit 680. Just about 680 on a Leo Ring counter. That's pretty good. Well, that's not even pretty good. That's really good for a weapon whose AR, or a weapon that's AR, is under 400 for me. So that kind of puts things in perspective of how good of a weapon this is with a Leo Ring. So, the good thing about that, the sudden damage output, the sudden high damage output, that can really surprise people. They don't necessarily expect that from a spear. Now, yes, they expect spears to be fast, and for the R1 spam that people usually do with them, to build up damage very quickly over time, but they don't expect that one random, extremely high hit. So, occasionally, you'll find people just be willing to brush aside one hit. They're like, oh, whatever, it's just a spear, I'll just brush off this one hit and then parry the next. Except you got a counterattack on them, and you don't do another attack. Right there, that's the one I was talking about. Almost 680, a 674. Not bad at all. Can't complain about that. So, yeah. Other pros of the weapon, it does have a fast swing speed. It is a spear, so of course it's got a fair bit of reach to it. And it's got a good moveset for a spear, actually. Now, unlike the Partisan, which has slashing attacks, this one, it just has a longer reaching thrust. It's also slower, and that can really throw off people's timing if they're trying to parry you. That being said, if people are bad at parrying spears to begin with, and you give them a slower attack, that might increase your chance to get parried. Really, it depends on the person you're fighting against. I personally have more trouble parrying the slower thrust than the normal speed one. Also, another pro, you can turtle poke, as I just showed right there before my but editing software made it go all glitchy. I don't exactly know why it's doing that. I'm not sure if it's even going to do that after the final thing is saved, but for me it went all glitchy and didn't look too nice, but oh well. So, moving on from here, the cons of the weapon, I would have to say that the biggest con of this weapon would be the fact that it's a spear. Its attacks are all linear. There are very few spears that don't have completely linear movesets, and this is one of the ones that has a completely linear moveset. So, that being said, if you have someone who is strafing around you and attacking you like that, you're going to have a hard time hitting them. You're probably going to need to go unlocked against a person who's doing that. Really though, a lot of the people who I was fighting against didn't do that. Everyone seems to have their own way of fighting against a spear, whether it be backstab fishing, or parry spamming, or just running straight in and smacking them with something else, like a Zweihander. That does work, believe it or not. Just running with a Zweihander and pancaking a spear user as they're starting to R1 spam you works really good, and it makes them pretty mad too, just for the record. Not talking from experience or anything. Moving on. So yeah, the cons of the weapon, definitely the fact that it's got a linear moveset, that's definitely a con. Also, I would have to say that another pretty big con to the weapon its damage output without a Leo ring is not too great. I mean, sure, you can still get counterattacks, but they won't do that extra bit of damage. Right there, 682. Can't go wrong with that. And I believe right again, another 682. People don't necessarily expect that, so that can really throw them off. And then when they're starting to roll around and roll away from you and panic a little bit, just finish them off with some quick R1 spam, and then they're done. You're good to go. So anyway, this is the last fight, so I'm just going to quickly recap. You need 13 strength and 15 dexterity, and E scaling in strength and a B scaling in dexterity, and it weighs 4.5 units. Works good with the Leo ring, blah blah blah. It's linear though, so gotta be careful of that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.